Okay, thanks for coming back for the master model video, part 2. This is all about pull features rather than push features. You can take an individual body, right-click on it, and say, Insert into New Part. This will allow you to make a new part, and we'll call it Creatively New Part. Puts it in a specific location, uses a specific template if you want to, or just a default template, and then make it. So what this does is it makes you a brand new part using the stock feature. And if you want to get back to the original, you can right click and say edit in context. But if we flip back to the parent, the feature did not create a new save bodies function. This is from our previous work where we saved all the bodies, not just one. So here from the parent, you're not going to be able to access the child. The implications of that may not be obvious right away, but when you start working with this and you can't find the parts that you've made from the parent part, it'll become an issue at that point. So this is why we call this pull data, because it's pulling this information in to the child from the parent. And this push-pull terminology is pretty much something that I started using myself. It wasn't something that was in the Solidworks documentation or something I've seen somewhere else. But I saw all of these master model tools, and I knew they worked differently. And I just wanted to classify them so that the different types of functionality were clear to people. So there is one more type of pull feature that I want to tell you about very quickly. And if we make a new part, from here we can go to Insert Part. And we can find whatever part it is that you want to insert into this new part. This has all of the existing bodies from our alarm clock. And you can use a configuration. Now, I don't really recommend using configurations in conjunction with master models. Configurations have so many problems as they are, and they cause a lot of crashes, honestly. If configurations worked as they should, I think this might be something I can recommend, but as things stand, I don't feel right about using configuration, especially for anything that's more than just basic usage. Down lower in the property manager, you can select what type of information you want to pull in from the parent document. Solid bodies, surface bodies, axes, planes. Some of these things will turn out to be important information. You can bring in the absorbed sketches, for example, to get the sketches used to make the original solid. Custom properties, coordinate systems, model dimension, all sorts of stuff. You can locate the part with the move copy feature, but that's something, again, that I don't recommend. I recommend just using the original part origin. And that keeps everything simple and you understand it, how things work from here to there. Also, this adds a history-based feature to your tree, which just adds to rebuild time. Unless you got a real good reason for needing to use that, I would avoid it. And here's a controversial one. Break link to original part. If you break the link to the original part, you're going to have essentially an imported part that you can't really do anything with in SolidWorks. You can add features to it, but you can't change the existing thing. Just be careful about using this. If you break it, it's broken. You're not going to be able to get it back if you break the link. So we click the check mark. The way some people do it from here is that some people will just go through and delete a bunch of bodies. I don't think that's a very efficient way to do it. So I would typically only use this type of feature on something that has a single body. And remember, this was insert part. It's going to bring in everything in the part. You can't tell it beforehand which bodies to bring. If you want to bring in a single part or a single body, then I would recommend you go back to the master model and the bodies list, and you right click on something and say insert into new part. So insert part and insert into new part really both wind up with a pull master model type function, but they are initiated from different places. Insert into new part is initiated from the parent, and insert part is initiated from the child. I've created this chart, which I hope simplifies things a little bit. You have your master model, and then within master model techniques, you have two types, push and pull. The pull functions are insert into new part and insert part. Insert into new part is initiated from the parent. You right mouse button on the body in the bodies folder, and the feature winds up in the child document. If you use an insert part function, then you initiate that command from the child document on the insert menu, and the feature will be placed in the feature manager of the child document. Now on the push type functions, you have save bodies, which is initiated from the parent by right mouse button clicking on the bodies folder. And the features will be placed in both the parent and the child documents. If you use the split feature, which is pretty much the same as save bodies with an additional body splitting function, it's initiated from the parent from the insert features menu. And again, the resulting features will be placed in both the parent and the child documents. So I hope that helps clear things up a little bit. That's kind of a summary of how Master Model works. We'll continue to talk about more multi-body functions, things that allow you to create bodies, and functions that require bodies. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.